Welcome to Wall's on Wire. Today we're diving into quite a significant moment in Parliament recently. We're talking about the Government Procurement Bill 2025.
That's right. And specifically, the drama surrounding its passing. It wasn't just the vote itself.
No, exactly. It was the reaction, the opposition, Parliamentary National walking out.
A full walkout. It really signals something major when that happens. It wasn't just about the bill, I think, but the whole process, the procedures involved.
Absolutely. It brings up big questions about parliamentary procedure, maybe even checks and balances.
Definitely. You've got these deep divisions sort of bubbling up to the surface.
So let's break down what happened. The bill itself, the 2025 Government Procurement Bill, it actually passed its second reading.
Yeah, the vote was, what, 125 for, 63 against?
Yeah.
A recorded vote, so quite clear.
Pretty decisive numbers. But then, almost immediately after that vote, things took a turn.
Right. That's when Datuk Seri Ronald Kiandi, he's the MP for Baluran from Parti Pribumi Bersatu, Malaysia.
Persatu, yeah.
He stood up and he raised a really significant objection, a procedural one.
And his point was?
His point was, look, there are new parliamentary rules, standing orders, and according to these new rules, all bills, after their first reading, they must go to a special select committee.
For scrutiny, right, a detailed look.
Exactly, for that detailed examination. But this bill, this important procurement bill, it seemed to skip that step entirely. It went straight from first reading basically to the second reading vote.
Which, if that rule exists, sounds like a major oversight or something else.
Oh, yeah, that's the crux of it. Because that special select committee, it's not just, another layer of bureaucracy. It's there for a reason.
What's the intended function then?
It's meant to be this space for really in-depth cross-party review, get experts in maybe, look at the clauses line by line, suggest amendments.
So like a quality control.
Kind of, yeah. Quality control, making sure legislation is well thought out, practical, maybe build some consensus before it hits the main floor for the big vote. It's about transparency, accountability.
Making sure laws are properly vetted.
Right. So when a bill, especially when you're dealing with government spending, procurement, when it bypasses that, it naturally makes people ask questions. Is the process fair? Is it legitimate?
Okay, so that's the objection. A clear rule, seemingly bypassed. But the speaker, Tan Sri Johari, he had an answer for that.
He did. His response to Dr. Seri Ronald Kiandi was quite specific.
What did he say?
He essentially said that the Parliament office, his office, hadn't received any formal request. No letter asking for the bill to be sent to the committee.
A letter, so it needed a written application.
According to the speaker, yes.
Yeah.
He stressed that the procedure, the standing orders, required MPs to submit a written application after the first reading if they wanted that referral.
So on the face of it, it sounds like maybe the opposition just missed a step, didn't file the paperwork.
That's certainly one interpretation. It paints it as a kind of administrative slip-up.
But that's not how the opposition saw it, is it? Especially the opposition leader, Hamzah Zainudin.
Not at all. This is where it really heats up. Hamzah Zainudin basically jumped right in. He wasn't buying the no-letter explanation.
What was his argument?
He pointed out, quite forcefully, that this whole rule about special select committees, it was something the speaker himself had actually championed, pushed for its creation.
Oh, interesting. So he's saying you made the rule.
Exactly. He basically asked, look, we want to follow this rule you set up. Why doesn't the government? He framed it not as a simple procedural issue, but as the speaker not enforcing his own rules.
That's quite a direct challenge.
Very direct. He even said something like, don't use the excuse that the committee didn't send a letter anymore. He was really pushing back hard.
So what was the goal there? Why take such a strong stance, calling it an excuse?
Well, I think Hamzah was trying to do a couple of things. First, shift the narrative. Make it about principle, not just paperwork.
Principle versus technicality.
Precisely. He wanted to portray the government and the speaker as perhaps hypocritical, setting up a rule for show, but then finding a way around it when it's actually needed for a major bill.
And trying to rally support around that idea.
Possibly. And second, he was defending the opposition's actions. He argued that even if there wasn't a formal letter, they had raised the issue verbally in the chamber before the vote took place.
So he's suggesting a verbal request in Parliament should count, or at least be considered.
It seems that way. That the spirit of the rule, the intent behind the committee, was being ignored using a bureaucratic loophole. Saying don't use the excuse is basically accusing the speaker of using a technicality to avoid proper scrutiny.
Okay, I see. And then came the walkout.
Yes. That walkout wasn't just spontaneous anger, I don't think. It was the culmination of this argument. A
Yeah.
very visible, very powerful way of saying, we reject this process. We don't trust how this is being handled, especially for a bill about government money.
So that collective walkout, it sends a huge message, doesn't it? Beyond just this one bill.
Absolutely. It's a political statement. It says the opposition feels the fundamental rules of engagement in Parliament aren't being respected. It's a challenge to how Parliament itself is operating.
What does a confrontation like this, playing out so publicly, mean for, the bigger picture, our political landscape?
It really throws into sharp relief this deep split over how parliamentary procedure should work.
How so?
You've got one side, represented by the Speaker in this instance, saying, we follow the written rules, black and white. Did you submit the form? It's very formalistic.
Sticking to the letter of the law.
Right. And the other side, the opposition here, saying, wait, what about the purpose of the rule, the spirit? We raised it verbally. That should matter. They're appealing to the intent, maybe the conventions.
And when those two views clash so openly,
It turns Parliament into, well, not just a place to debate laws, but a battleground over the rules of the debate itself. Every procedure becomes a potential fight.
that sounds difficult for getting things done.
It can be. And it affects public trust. People watching might start to wonder if this system is working fairly, if scrutiny is actually happening, or if it's just political gamesmanship. It potentially makes future cooperation harder, creates a more adversarial climate.
It is a bit concerning, isn't it, when you see disagreement, not just on policy, but on the basic rules of how to even discuss policy. It makes you think, how do you find that balance between needing clear rules, but also allowing for the flexibility needed in politics?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you ensure rules meant to improve governance don't themselves become the source of conflict?
Especially in a dynamic political scene like ours. What do you think? How should Parliament handle these kinds of standoffs over procedure moving forward to keep things functional but also fair? So looking back at this whole episode with the 2025 Government Procurement Bill, it was clearly about much more than just the bill passing.
Oh, definitely. It really became a flashpoint for these underlying tensions about parliamentary process, about rules, about respect, maybe.
The opposition walkout wasn't just theater. It was them drawing a line in the sand, saying they believe a fundamental principle of parliamentary procedure was ignored.
And it forces us to think about how robust our democratic processes really are. Are the safeguards working as intended?
Yeah, it's a reminder, isn't it, that in politics, sometimes the process is the battleground.
Absolutely. Procedure can be a strategy, a tool used in power struggles. Understanding how things happen in Parliament, the procedural fights, tells you a lot about the state of play.
It shows the complexities, the dynamics, maybe how fragile transparency efforts can be when politics gets involved.
It definitely leaves you wondering, are we heading towards a Parliament that's genuinely more accountable or one that's just getting better at fighting over the rules? It's something to watch.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.